What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Quick little tactical training for you today as well. How to close everyone, downselling like a pro. So one of the big beliefs that I like to set in our community is that everyone buys something. What I mean by that is that everyone has some money, right? No matter what, and everyone has this problem, and we should find a way to help everyone to a certain degree, right? And obviously you want to try and sell your primary program because that's going to be your objective. That's because you think that's the thing that's going to help them the most, etc. But there come times where people can't afford it for whatever reason, right? This is reality. All right, anyone who tells you otherwise is whatever, full of it. So in the real world of sales, understanding how to downsell like a champ is one of the reasons that you'll be able to massively increase your close rate. Now, doing it properly is one of the key points here. All right. So when you do it poorly, it sounds like begging, and it sounds like you totally lose your frame in the sale, and now you sound desperate and aggressive and clingy, and you sound like you've got, I love this term, commission breath, and basically just ruins the sale. And then they don't, even if they could afford it, they don't want to buy from you because of what you're doing, right? It sounds unethical, etc. Like, wait, you just said it was this price, you're just going to keep lowering it. And so the key to doing this is having a key set of cards that you have in your back pocket that you can choose to play as you go down, right? So it's kind of like a step down. All right, and the way that you do this is through exchange. All right, so one of the other powerful influences in human psychology in general is reciprocity. All right, we have a very hard time if someone gives you something, not giving something back. The beautiful thing is that after you exchange something, the person who sets the terms always has the power in the agreement. So, for example, if someone asks me to do something, which is essentially what they're doing when they say no, they can't afford that. They're asking you to do something for them, right? Can you do it for less? That's the implication, right? They can't do it for that. What else can you do? And so there's a study that like showed this, and I mean, there's hundreds of studies that show this, but where they took people in colleges and they let them cut in line. And the thing is that doing a small favor, people don't have a good idea of what equality in an exchange is. And so if you do a small favor for someone, and after you do the small favor, then make a big ask, it's still very hard for people to say no. All right. And so that's the thing, is that people don't have, with reciprocity, an idea of fairness of exchange there. All right. Like, it's like, hey, yeah, remember I bought you lunch yesterday? Can you take me to the airport and back this weekend? Or can you help me move out of my apartment? Like, that's not a fair exchange. But the thing is that with reciprocity, people will say yes to things because of just underlying human psychology. All right. So here's how you use reciprocity, which is one of the strongest things, motivators for persuasion in a downselling environment. All right. So after, let's say you offer your primary program, you're like, hey, it's X, right? And they're like, I just can't afford that. So what you say is this. You say, tell you what, I'll do it for this if you XYZ, right? If you leave me a testimonial. So I'll drop the price in half if you leave me a testimonial. Fair enough. And when you say that, it's like they asked you to make some sort of adjustment. You take that in consideration, you make the adjustment, and you make the offer again, and you say, does that sound fair? Right? And the thing is it's very difficult for people to keep hearing that over and over again and not say yes. So I'll give you an example of one of the step downs that we use that's really successful. And so let's say we're selling a front end program for $300, all right, for 3 weeks, $100 a week, very straightforward, 3 weeks, all right? So they say no. They say, you know what, that's too much for me. You say, no problem. What if we just did 49 weeks for 12 weeks, right, with a commitment? And so what we're doing is that you always have these cards that you can play. So in a fitness example, right, you have the term, so how long they're committing to, that's number one. Number two, you can ask them to give you a testimonial. You can ask them to give you reviews. You can ask them to bring a friend. And each of these things are things that you can ask them to do so that you can ethically lower the price because you're asking them to do more. All right. On top of that, you can also add bonuses in the original package. I don't like removing bonuses as much because like I want to give them those things. And so it's more like I'd rather go in the other direction of asking them to do more things for me. And that way, if someone else is like, well, why is she paying X and I'm paying Z? You can say, well, she's doing some extra things for me that you're not. And they're like, oh. And so that way you're not saying like two people are having different prices for the same program because you've made additional terms to the agreement, right? So traditional step down would be like, hey, can you do this thing for $299? They say no. You say, awesome, no worries. You know what? I can just cut the price in half, and if you can just commit to 12 weeks, fair enough. They say no, and you say, okay, no worries. Let's just not even worry about the commitment, just get you started today for 49 bucks. Fair enough? They say no. You say, all right. And you have to acknowledge that it gets kind of increasing ridiculous as you make more and more offers, right? In a light tone, because it's still going to pull on that internal mechanism inside of people to take action and say yes. Okay. So we've already done 2 drop downs. We did half price with commitment, then we removed commitment. $49. All right. We're 49 and we eliminate commitment. That's 2 step downs. All right. Step underneath of that. You're like, all right, how about this? I'll do it for 39 if you leave me a testimonial at the end. Fair enough? And also, when you have the testimonial, you're also putting another implication that they're going to get results. So you're selling while you're downselling at the same time, right? Now you've said 3 downsells. Fair enough? They're like, no, I still can't do it. You're like, all right, cool. Let's just get you kicked off at $29 a week, pay as you go. Don't worry about it, and just bring a friend in the first 30 days. All right, that way I can at least cover my costs, and that way it gets me to at least half price what I was saying before. Fair enough? It's hard for someone to hear that, have you make all of these accommodations for them and not say yes 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and be very clear about how you're asking for this. Don't just say sound good, sound great, cool. That's not the call to action. The call to action when you're downselling, I mean, I really like this in general when I'm selling, is fair enough, sound fair, because you're lowering the bar to just say, yeah, that sounds fair. And you're like, awesome, great. What card do you want to use? Let's get you started, right? If you want, you can even transition, be like, cool, do you want to do your nutrition appointment in the morning or the afternoon? So you're already taking more micro steps in the right commitment before you ask for the card, if you want to do that. All right, but I'll go through this one more time for everyone who's listening. So primary offer, it's $2.99. It's got all this amazing stuff. Fair enough? No? Okay, no worries. What we can do is if the price is enough, but you really still want this, if you want to just go longer, which you're probably going to need anyways, right? I'll do it for $49 a week, which is half of what I said earlier. All right? Fair enough? And when you're asking this, you have to ask it like you actually want them to say yes. And that's why the tonality is so important. Don't just like read the script and be like, sound fair. Like you have to be like, fair enough? Like you have to ask it like you're actually asking them to say yes. I know this sounds minor, but it's everything over the phone when you don't have your body to make so that they can see, because only 9% of communication is verbal, right? And everything else is how you say the words, not just the words you're saying, right? I can give you another example of like how I can take one sentence and make it mean like 6 things by how you say it. All right, sales is the same thing. So big program, they say no, commitment at half price, fair enough. They say no, you say, listen, don't worry about it. I get it, sometimes commitment can be scary. How about this? I'll just let you get started for a day, pay as you go. I'll prove myself. All right, we don't have to get married. We can just start first date, right? 49. All right, fair enough. You got to really wait for it. And they're like, and you're like, okay, you're killing me here. That's okay. No worries. We'll get this started. All right, we'll figure this out together. The thing is that when you're doing this, it's collaborative. You're on the same side of the table saying, let's figure out a way to make this work, right? Because if you have built the rapport throughout the sale, you've dug the pain, right? So they know that this is something that they need to do, and they know they need to do it with you. They will work with you as long as you've maintained rapport and you don't get aggressive, right? And so you're like, okay, no worries. How about this? I'll do it for $39 a week. All right, so it's 25% off of my already 50% off, right? If you just leave me a testimonial at the end. Fair enough? It's hard for people to keep saying no to that. And you're like, okay, 39. All right. I'll do it. All right, this is the best I can do. All right, because at this point I'm pretty much paying you to work out. All right, so I can do this for 29. All right, just send me a friend in the first 30 days. That way, at least I can get back to the 49 that just at least covers my costs. Fair enough. When you say it like that, you see how the tonality changes, right? They're like, man, this guy's really trying to help me out. He's really trying to accommodate me. And so when you drop down that many, like at this point, we're at 6 drop downs. Okay, so this person, all right, if they say no at this point, then in my opinion, it's not a money thing. You lost them earlier on in the sale and they're trying to get off. And at some point earlier on, they became disengaged with the phone call. All right, that's where you get the, hey, can I get the credit card? They hang up. Right? It's because they're just done with the conversation. They just want to get off the phone. Right? In person, they can't just get off the phone. You have a little bit more fighting room. Over the phone, it's not that way. Right? And so these are the things, and that's why you have to confront the obstacles earlier on, like someone's disengaged, they're not paying attention, they're giving you surface level problems. That's where you're like, hey, can I be real with you instead of nice to you? and then you deliver the pain. You're like, hey, I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. All right, I'm saying that so I can help. Right? And so when you say that, it's like you've given yourself permission to inject the truth, rub the pain a little bit, but then you put a Band-Aid on it afterwards. All right. And so, anywho, that's earlier on objections. I won't get into that right now. But knowing how to downsell will massively increase your close rate. And by adding these little cards that you have that you can trade with people on, allows you to have flexibility in the deal. Right? And then that way they can feel like you accommodated them, you still help them. And then ultimately what you're doing is just trying to get your foot in the door, because in 7 days and 14 days, they're finally going to trust you, and then they'll buy the full price program later. Like, don't worry about it. It's just like, let's get you going. Let's get you in our world so that we can provide value. And then after that, we'll make it work. All right. So 2 cents on downselling. You need to know how to downsell, and you need to know how to do it ethically without sounding like you're begging or being pushy. And that's how you do it. All right. Lots of love, everyone. If you like this, drop a comment, drop a review, drop a whatever. Engage with this, and have a miraculous Wednesday. All right, catch you soon. Bye.